Praise be to you, Yahuwah my Elohim. Praise be to your Son, Yahushua my Messiah. I come at your feet in the name of your Son. Thank you for the knowledge you pour unto me, and thank you for breaking all the shackle that was bound on my face. Yahuwah, you are the only true living God. Thank you for your Yahushua, whom you truly love. You are Elohim, the Elohim of the Yahudim.
Shalom family, I'm your brother Pierre Ligi, and this is The Remnant Awakens. Today, we're going deep into a conversation that many are afraid to touch. Who was Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam? What really happened in the cave? Who gave him the Quran? And how is Islam connected to the transatlantic slave trade, the Vatican, and the persecution of the true Yahudim? Let's talk facts, scripture, and historical records. Not in hate, but in biblical truth, historical proof, and prophecy. So first off, Muhammad was born around 570 AD in Mecca, in the region we now call Saudi Arabia. He came from the Quraysh tribe, a powerful Arab trading clan. But here's the twist. He was from the lineage of Ishmael, not Yitzhak, Isaac. Bereshith, Genesis, chapter 17, verse 18 to 20 says, And Abraham said unto Elohim, O that Ishmael might live before you. And Elohim said, Sarah your woman shall bear you a son indeed, and you shall call his name Yitzhak, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard you. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. These 12 princes are listed in Genesis chapter 25, verse 13 to 16, and 1 Chronicles chapter 1, verse 29 to 31, as Nevaioth, Kedar, Adbeel, Mivsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadar, Tema, Yetur, Naphish, and Kedemah. Each became a chieftain over their own people, with fortified towns and inherited territory, stretching from Havilah to Shur near Egypt, and toward Assyria. See Genesis chapter 25, verse 18. Their names, especially Kedar, Duma, and Tema, appear again in the prophets. See Isaiah chapter 21, verse 11 to 17, Job chapter 6, verse 19, and Ezekiel chapter 27, verse 21, as prominent Arab tribes, showing that the 12 sons of Ishmael truly became 12 princes, just as Yahuwah promised. These tribal patriarchs laid the foundation for many of the Arab nations, including the lineage from which the Prophet Muhammad would eventually descend. The modern-day wealth and prosperity of Arab nations like the United Arab Emirates and cities such as Dubai can be seen as a physical manifestation of this ancient blessing. Yahuwah declared that he would make Ishmael fruitful and multiply him exceedingly. And today we see that fruitfulness expressed through oil wealth, commerce, and international influence. Yet despite this material success, Scripture is clear that the everlasting covenant was established not with Ishmael, but with Yitzhak, the son of promise, through whom the spiritual inheritance of the kingdom continues. See Genesis chapter 17, verse 21. And while Yahuwah poured out great fruitfulness upon Ishmael, multiplying his seed into 12 powerful princes who established nations from Havilah to Shur, and whose descendants flourish today in the wealth of cities like Dubai. It was with Yitzhak, the son of promise, that Yahuwah established his everlasting covenant, a covenant that would pass through Yaakov, whose name was changed to Yasharel, meaning he who rules or walks straight with Elohim. From Yaakov came 12 sons, the tribal patriarchs of Yasharel, Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Yissachar, Zebulun, Yosef, and Binyamin. A divine nation, hand-picked not for worldly riches, but for favor, righteousness, and eternal purpose. Though scattered, afflicted, and often without material wealth, they remain the apple of Yahuwah's eye, a chosen remnant, destined not for survival, but for sovereignty. For Yahuwah has declared that his covenant people will inherit not just land, but the entire renewed earth, when the kingdom of Elohim is established in power and glory. Yasharel shall be set above all nations, reigning as kings and priests under the righteous rule of Yahusha HaMashiach, the Lion of Yahudah. In that day, the tribes of Yasharel will be regathered with power, clothed in splendor, and seated in judgment with Mashiach over the nations of the world. Their inheritance is not oil, silver, or gold, but immortality, dominion, and divine authority. They will tread upon the heights of the earth, restore the order of righteousness, and shine as luminaries in a world made new, where Yahweh himself will dwell among his people, and the Torah will go forth from Zion to the ends of the earth. The names of Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Yissachar, Zebulun, Yosef, and Binyamin will be engraved upon the gates of the New Yerushalayim, as a memorial to the covenant that was, is, and shall forever be. And in that appointed day of glory, when the kingdom of Elohim is revealed in fullness upon the renewed earth, the nations shall bow in reverent fear before Yasharel, and kings shall become their servants. The wealth of empires shall stream like rivers into the kingdom, not by conquest, but by divine decree. The rulers of the earth will lay down their crowns, the mighty will humble themselves, and the sons of those who once oppressed Yasharel shall come bending, pleading for favor at the feet of Yahuwah's elect. For Yasharel will no longer be a byword among the nations, but a crown of splendor in the hand of Yahuwah, a royal priesthood, a righteous nation, and the governing body of the world to come. The Torah shall proceed from their mouths, justice shall be established by their hands, and with Mashiach Yahusha enthroned in Yerushalayim, they shall judge the nations in righteousness and shine forever as the living vessels of Yahuwah's esteem. Now, let's go back to Muhammad's story. Genesis chapter 16 verse 12 says, Ishmael would be a wild man, his hand against every man and every man's hand against him. This prophecy is not a blessing, it's a warning. The children of Ishmael would rise up in conflict against their brothers, especially the children of Yasharel. At age 40, Muhammad went into a cave called Hira. There, something supernatural happened. According to Islamic tradition, the angel Gabriel, appeared and began to squeeze him, torment him, and command him to recite, even though he was illiterate. So he ran away, terrified, thinking he had been possessed by a jinn demon. His wife Khadija and a Catholic cousin named Waraka ibn Nawfal told him, "No, this is from God. You are the prophet of Allah, God." But let's break this down. Gabriel in scripture never tormented people. No prophet in the Bible was possessed, choked, or confused when receiving the word. Real messengers of Yahuwah bring peace, not terror. So who did Muhammad really encounter? A fallen angel, a deceiver, an emissary of Hasatan. Galatians chapter 1 verse 8 says, "Even if we or an angel from heaven preach another gospel, let him be accursed." Muhammad never wrote a single word because he was illiterate, meaning he could not read or write. The Quran was memorized orally by his followers, compiled after his death by men like Uthman, rearranged, edited, and militarized into the system of Islamic Sharia. The Quran denies Yahusha as the son of Elohim, calls the crucifixion a lie, glorifies war, polygamy, and forced conversion, mentions Miriam more than the Gospels, but twists her story. 1 John chapter 2 verse 22 says, "Who is a liar but he that denies that Yahusha is the Messiah? He is Antichrist, which means against the Mashiach." Islam is not just another religion. It is a direct counterfeit to the gospel. This will shock some of you, but historical documents and testimonies reveal Khadija, Muhammad's wife, was a wealthy merchant under Vatican influence. Her cousin Waraka was a Nestorian Christian with ties to Rome. Rome helped finance and support Muhammad to control the Arabs and reclaim Jerusalem. The Jesuit and Vatican strategy was to use Islam to kill true believers of the Way and the Yahudium, create religious chaos to justify crusades and papal dominance. Islam and Catholicism share veneration of Mary, repetitive prayer, rosary and beads, holy pilgrimages, religious imagery, and control. They are two arms of the same beast. Now, most people only talk about the European side of the transatlantic slave trade, but Islam was already enslaving black Hebrews centuries before. Arabs enslaved East and West Africans from the 600s AD, castrated the men, used women as sex slaves, sold Hebrews through Sahara and Indian Ocean trade routes. The Arab-Muslim slave trade was larger in duration than the Atlantic trade, just as brutal, if not worse, fueled by Islamic doctrine that viewed blacks as inferior Abidi slaves. So both Islam and Rome played major roles in oppressing the real children of Yahuwah. Wherever Islam spread, Yahudium suffered. In Spain, under Moorish rule, in North Africa, Arabia, and Persia. Forced conversions or dhimmi, subhuman status, Torah scrolls burned, synagogues destroyed. Muhammad himself killed the Banu Qurayza, a tribe of Hebrews who refused to convert. He also beheaded 600 to 900 Yahudim in one day. John chapter 16 verse 2 says, "The time comes when whoever kills you will think he does Elohim's service." Islam claims to honor the prophets, but in truth, it denies Torah, the Messiah, and the covenant. So, let's be real. Muhammad was not a prophet of Yahuwah. He was deceived by a fallen messenger, supported by Rome, and used to wage war against the children of Shem. The Quran is not the word of Yahuwah, the Most High. It's a mixture of truth and lies. It's the sword of Hasatan, disguised as light, designed to keep the real Hebrews in bondage and to fight against the covenant. I know this is hard for some people to hear, but the truth will set you free. We gotta come out of all these systems, whether it's Islam, Christianity, or any other religion that keeps us from the covenant of Yahuwah and the testimony of Yahusha. The remnant is waking up and the deception is being exposed. All right, family, that's it for today. I'm Pierre Lidji, your brother from the tribe of Yehuda, and this is The Remnant Awakens. If this message stirred something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video so it reaches more people. Subscribe if you're awakening to truth, and comment below with what stood out to you most. And if you know someone caught up in Islam or false religion, share this episode with them. Until next time, shalom. See you all on the next episode.
Praise be to you, Yahuwah my Elohim. Praise be to your Son, Yahushua my Messiah. I come at your feet in the name of your Son. Thank you for the knowledge you pour unto me, and thank you for breaking all the shackle that was bound on my face. Yahuwah, you are the only true living God. Thank you for your Yahusha, whom you truly love. You are Elohim the Elohim.